apparently 100 years ago, there were witches that actually lived here, but that hasn't stopped it from being one of the most popular houses on the market this year. There's a huge hole as you walk in the front of the house. We've put a bit of plyboard there, but we're still recommending that people step over that if they can. Some of these houses, they're in such bad condition that we have to actually get people to sign waivers just so they understand what they're walking into. We've had over 1,000 inquiries online. We've shown about 60 people through the home, sent out 30 contracts. With the market feedback been anywhere 1.3 and 1.4 million. So it just makes it a really great raw site for someone looking to renovate. Kevin, do you want to look inside here as well?
Yeah. Yep. So they're lucky.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to sell. So we open the bidding, ladies and gentlemen, at 1,100,000. I thank you for that, sir. 1.5. At 1,600,000 I had. Wholesaling at 1,918,000. Sold, sir. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great afternoon.
Alarms are going off in Sydney, known as Australia's bellwether property market. The coastal city ranks as the second least affordable housing market in the world among 94 major cities.
This rush is very overwhelming.
There's not enough supply and there's too much demand.
I've been selling in the area for the last 18 years. The Sydney market is the strongest in Australia, and that has to do with the beaches, the accessibility to the city, airports. It's a fantastic location with a huge lifestyle scene, and I think it's the highest growing population out of all the Australian cities, and that's always going to cause prices to go up when land and homes are scarce. The toughest market I'm finding for buyers are the low-income first-home buyers, and they're often looking at one-bedroom or two-bedroom apartments because you can imagine when rates go up from 2% to 6%, that's huge for someone who's on a single-income salary, looking to buy their first home.
The predicament is mirrored globally from the UK to Singapore with little to no signs of relief. So what's driving this housing crunch? And what are the consequences for buyers, sellers, construction firms, and the government?
National home prices in Australia have risen 33% since the onset of the pandemic. At the same time, interest rates are markedly higher. Now, the reason why we're seeing that is the fact that we've got very tight conditions with respect to the supply of stock on market. We've also got the unemployment rate, which is sitting around a multi-decade low, adding an additional sense of security for home buyers. So we're continuing to see that housing demand has been bolstered by a very strong rebound in net migration.
The population of Greater Sydney is expected to grow by 1 million by 2041 to 6.1 million people. To cope with that influx, the state needs about 900,000 additional dwellings by then, according to government estimates. But the tight supply of homes for sale isn't the only problem.
Rental markets in Australia are incredibly challenged at the moment. So we've got vacancy rates which are at or close to record lows in most capital cities Australia-wide. We've got very strong demand to rent, and that continues to outstrip the supply of available rentals.
Less than 1% of the country's rental properties are available for occupancy, which is the lowest among comparable markets globally. And the tight supply partly explains why rents for houses and apartments surged by 16% and 20% respectively in the past year alone.
When we look at the affordability challenges that the housing market presents in Australia, we're seeing that it is the younger generation of Australians that are most impacted by these challenges, and also amongst those on lower income.
23-year-old Harry and his mother live on the outskirts of Sydney. Harry is a student and has a part-time job with a 2-hour commute each way. They're bearing the brunt of the housing crisis, having been left with no choice but to move from house to house to house.
The house we were in previously, I think we started renting it for $470 or $500 a week. It rose to $550. We just couldn't keep up with the cost. My mum is a Catholic primary school teacher. She's lived in the area for 20-something plus years, and she can't afford to live in the same area that she's lived in.
Harry says they were evicted from their rental house in 2022 when they asked for repairs to the shower.
And then suddenly we've just had to drop everything and spend all of our time looking for rental properties. Just inspection after inspection and afternoons spent going to inspections and applying for properties and not hearing anything back.
One of the inspections that we went to in a suburb nearby, we got there and there were around about 85 people, I think we counted. You don't really stand a chance when there's that many people who are going. It's the same with the pets. And it's kind of like, wow, you know, let me do a resume for my dog.
Hurdles remain for building more homes to ease the supply crunch. In the background are the construction collapses, with firms going bankrupt by the dozens. A pandemic-driven building boom is partly to blame. Construction firms had agreed to fixed-price contracts with lockdown homeowners looking to fix up their properties. But then the cost of labor and building materials spiked along with inflation. According to the Builders Collective of Australia, houses are now 30% more expensive to build than before the pandemic. For some, any kind of relief can't come soon enough.
One way to help alleviate current challenges in the Australian housing market is also by incentivising or increasing the supply of social and affordable housing. For a portion of housing market participants that are so often overlooked and for whom it is crucial to be able to access stable and secure housing tenure.
Across Australia, housing supply and housing affordability is a challenge. We are looking at opportunities to greater provide densification. We're looking at providing more planning pathways for different types of housing typologies. Firstly, increasing the social housing stock. Where you live, it's not just a roof over your head either. It's your community, it's where you build your family, it's where you build your networks, it's how you get to know people, it's your sense of self. We've recently received $610 million from the Commonwealth Government that will be directly put into social housing, and the government has a contribution they make to social housing in the millions, hundreds of millions each year to make sure that we reinvest in both new and improved social housing stock.
At the moment, every single aspect of renting in this country is centred around profit. Home is such an indescribable, thing, but realistically, you might not even get the privilege to own your own home at all.